The planet Deathworld L was harsh and unyielding. Its skies burned with streaks of red dust, and the ground shook with sudden tremors that could swallow a careless traveler. But among all the worlds known to humanity, this was where they thrived. Humans had settled here for years, learning to adapt, to survive where no other species dared to linger. Each colony was a testament to human resilience, ingenuity, and an unspoken defiance against impossible odds. In the midst of this hostile world stood Captain Elias Kane, a man who had seen more danger in 1 week than most would in a lifetime. His hands, calloused and steady, moved over the control panel of his workshop with precision. Around him, the colony hummed with life. Machines roared, vents hissed, and children played near protective barriers, oblivious to the threats outside. Elias loved the chaos. It meant life, and life was something worth defending fiercely. Today, however, the chaos was interrupted by a presence unlike any he had encountered before. A ripple in the air announced it, subtle but unmistakable. The colony's alarm system had barely registered it before the alien queen herself appeared in the central plaza. Xyrella was a vision of power and elegance. Her towering frame, armored in iridescent scales, shimmered with colors no human eye had names for. Eyes as deep as black holes scanned the crowd, landing eventually on Elias. There was a calm in her gaze, a quiet curiosity that contrasted with her intimidating stature. The humans fell silent. They had heard stories of her, of entire worlds bending under her influence, but here she was, and she did not roar or strike. She observed. Elias met her gaze with the same steadiness. He did not bow, did not shrink. He merely nodded, a small gesture of respect. The queen's lips curled ever so slightly in a gesture that could almost be considered a smile. She had expected fear, but instead found confidence and calm. This was unusual, fascinating even. "Human captain," she said, her voice like a melody of metal and wind echoing across the plaza, "you welcome me with courage. Your people have survived where many have perished." "That is intriguing. I have observed many of your kind across the stars, and yet you stand apart. Perhaps it is why I have come here." Over the next few days, Xyrella explored the colony. She watched humans construct shelters that resisted tremors and dust storms, manipulate the planet's toxic resources into breathable water, and navigate the dangerous fauna with skill. She was impressed, but it was Elias who fascinated her most. He moved among the humans not as a leader barking orders, but as a guide, observing, adjusting, planning. One evening, as the twin suns of Deathworld L dipped below the jagged horizon, Xyrella and Elias found themselves alone on a cliff overlooking the colony. "This world is remarkable," she said, her voice softer now, almost lost in the winds. "Your people thrive where others fail. And yet there is more to you human, something hidden." She had expected someone who would rely on her power to keep alive. Instead, she saw a man who could navigate Deathworld L with confidence, who could anticipate threats and protect his people without relying on anyone's mercy. "You are different," she said finally. "I thought humans were fragile. I thought you needed protection. But you are extraordinary." There was a quality in humans that she had never fully appreciated. Their resilience was not merely physical, but mental, emotional, and strategic. They were predators in their own right, hunters who adapted to any environment. The ceremony that followed was simple, yet profound. Xyrella had chosen to unite with Elias, believing that his qualities would complement her reign. The humans witnessed it not as subjects, but as partners. There were no grand proclamations of ownership or fear, only respect and recognition. But life on Deathworld L was never quiet for long. As the union ceremony concluded, scouts brought alarming news. Unusual energy signatures were detected near the colony's borders. These readings were consistent with the Xyler, a rogue alien faction notorious for attacking planets without warning. Xyrella's eyes narrowed, her scales bristling. "They are far too close. This is dangerous." He had studied Xyler tactics before and knew that brute force alone would not be enough. The terrain of Deathworld L was as much an ally as any weapon, and Elias intended to use every advantage. Xyrella watched him, her admiration deepening. She had assumed he was a man who would rely on her strength. Instead, he relied on knowledge, foresight, and ingenuity. It was a human's way, and she realized that in this union she might learn more than she had ever anticipated. As night fell, the colony lit up with activity. Lights flickered in protective domes, machines hummed with purpose, and humans moved with disciplined efficiency. Elias stood at the center, issuing commands, adjusting plans, and anticipating every potential threat. He moved with the quiet confidence of someone who had survived far more than anyone could imagine. Xyrella remained by his side, silent, watching. She could sense the danger coming, but she also sensed something else. The fire of humanity, the courage that refused to yield, and the brilliance of a man who was far from ordinary. Hours passed, and the stars above Deathworld L seemed to shimmer in anticipation. The Xyler would arrive soon, but the humans were ready. Not because they had the might of an entire galaxy, but because they had something more profound, the ability to endure, to adapt, and to outthink any threat. Elias paused, looking at the horizon where the alien fleet would appear. He adjusted his jacket, his expression calm, and turned to Xyrella. "We are ready," he said simply. Xyrella smiled, a small curve of her lips, full of respect and curiosity. "Then perhaps, human, you are not as ordinary as I once thought." On Deathworld L, the humans had learned to survive against all odds, and now, with the alien queen by their side, they would face the coming storm not with fear, but with courage, ingenuity, and the unshakable resolve that had always defined them. In that moment, Xyrella realized that strength was not merely about power. It was about the spirit to endure, the mind to adapt, and the heart to lead. And in Elias Kane, she had found all three, hidden behind the calm exterior of an ordinary human. The first stirrings of conflict loomed over the horizon, but for now, Deathworld L was alive, vibrant, and ready to prove that humans were forces to be reckoned with, even in the face of a galaxy that underestimated them. And in the quiet moments before the storm, the alien queen and the human captain stood together, two beings from different worlds, united by respect, courage, and an unspoken understanding. The fight ahead would reveal the true power of humanity. The first light of Deathworld L's twin suns barely touched the jagged horizon when the alarms blared across the colony. Red lights flashed inside the control hubs, warning of multiple incoming objects. Scouts had spotted the Xyler fleet approaching faster than expected. Their signature ships were sleek, dark, and menacing, moving with lethal precision. Elias Kane stood at the center of the command hub, scanning the incoming data. His jaw was set, his mind already calculating angles, speeds, and likely points of attack. Around him, the human engineers and soldiers moved swiftly, following the plans he had drawn up. There was no panic, only focus. Humans thrived in chaos, and Elias knew it better than anyone. The alien queen, Xyrella, appeared at his side. Her massive frame made the human soldiers pause for a second, but Elias ignored it. He had grown accustomed to her presence. "They are faster than anticipated," she said, her voice calm but filled with concern. "This is no ordinary strike. They intend to destroy everything. Then we'll show them that Deathworld L is not ordinary either. They assume humans are weak. They may have advanced weapons, but we have something stronger: creativity and adaptability." The first wave of Xyler ships broke the horizon. They descended like shadows over the colony, sleek and black, their weapons gleaming in the harsh sunlight. The humans opened fire from fortified positions, plasma rifles spitting energy, automated turrets blazing. Yet the Xyler were resilient. Their shields absorbed much of the damage, and some ships maneuvered around traps with surprising agility. Elias clenched his fists but remained composed. "They expect a fight of strength," he muttered. "We will give them a fight of strategy." Explosives were placed with precision, traps laid along predicted paths. When the Xyler advanced, the ground quaked beneath them, their ships jolted from hidden seismic charges, and many crashed or were damaged beyond repair. The humans cheered at each small victory, but Elias remained focused. "Stay alert," he warned. "They will adapt quickly." "We must adapt faster." Hours passed, and the battle raged across Deathworld L. Smoke and dust swirled in the air, making the twin suns appear dimmer. Yet, Elias moved with unwavering calm. Scouts reported that a group of Xyler command ships was trying to flank the colony. Elias immediately devised a counter-strategy. He assembled a small squad, humans and Xyrella together, to intercept the flanking ships. They moved through narrow canyons where the Xyler's large vessels struggled to maneuver. Using the natural hazards of the terrain, the squad ambushed the enemy. Explosives detonated at key points, creating rockfalls that crushed or blocked enemy ships. Xyrella unleashed her energy blasts precisely, disabling weapons without destroying the entire vessel, enough to neutralize threats while saving potential prisoners. The humans fought with synchronized precision, as if guided by a single mind. They had confidence in Elias, and his calm courage inspired them. One human soldier, a young engineer named Tessa, marveled at how Elias anticipated every Xyler move. "It's like he sees the battle before it happens," she whispered to her companion. Elias overheard but said nothing. He was already planning the next step. The Xyler were cunning, but Deathworld L was home, and humans had learned to turn even danger into advantage. By late afternoon, the main Xyler fleet had arrived. The scale of the threat became evident, hundreds of ships moving in formation, their weapons pointed directly at the colony. Xyrella stepped forward. "I can destroy them," she said, her voice powerful enough to ripple through the command hub. Elias shook his head. "If we rely solely on power, they'll adapt. We need precision, traps, teamwork. Humans fight differently, they endure differently. That's our strength." Elias moved from station to station, coordinating each maneuver with calm authority. At one critical moment, a massive Xyler warship breached the outer defenses. It was larger and stronger than any vessel the humans had faced. Many expected Xyrella to destroy it instantly, but Elias had a different plan. "Use the canyon traps," he ordered. "Lead it toward the seismic zone. Don't waste energy trying to destroy it outright. Let the planet do the work." Explosions rocked the surrounding terrain, and the Xyler ship was destroyed, proving Elias' strategy to be both brilliant and efficient. As the smoke cleared, Xyrella regarded him with new respect. "You are more than I imagined," she said quietly. "Not only do you endure, but you command, you strategize, you adapt. This is unusual for your kind. We have to adapt to survive. Strength alone isn't enough on Deathworld L. Every choice, every movement matters. That's why humans endure." They had seen their own power, how intelligence, courage, and teamwork could overcome what seemed impossible. Xyrella moved among the humans, offering assistance and observing their coordination. She had fought countless battles, commanded armies, and destroyed planets. Yet she found herself learning from humans, understanding their resilience and creativity. Elias had revealed a truth she had underestimated. Humans were not fragile, they were extraordinary. In the quiet moments after the skirmish, Elias walked to the edge of the cliff overlooking the colony. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows. Smoke from the destroyed Xyler ships drifted in the distance, but the colony remained intact. Xyrella joined him, her scales catching the last light of the day. "They underestimated you," she said softly, "and so did I. You are not ordinary human, not even close." She had come expecting a mate she could control, a human who relied on her strength. Instead, she found someone who could teach her a different kind of power, one of ingenuity, leadership, and unwavering resolve. Night fell over Deathworld L. The humans repaired defenses, tended to the wounded, and prepared for the next wave. Fires from the battle still burned in the distance, but morale was high. They had faced the Xyler and survived. They had learned that even when the enemy was stronger and faster, humans had an advantage that no alien could replicate: their mind, their courage, and their unbreakable spirit. Xyrella remained by Elias' side, observing, learning, and understanding that the ordinary human she had married was anything but ordinary. In him, she saw the embodiment of what made humans unique: their ability to endure, to fight against impossible odds, and to triumph through intellect, courage, and unity. The calm of the night was deceptive. The Xyler would return, stronger, more determined. But Deathworld L had a secret weapon, humans led by a man who had faced death countless times and had never flinched. And as Xyrella looked at Elias, she realized that together they could face any threat. For the first time, the alien queen understood what humans had always known. Survival was not just about power. It was about resilience, ingenuity, and the courage to stand firm when everything else threatens to collapse. And Elias Kane was the perfect example of all three. The battle for Deathworld L had begun, but the war would show the galaxy that humans were not ordinary, and that even the mightiest alien forces could not underestimate the strength of a species that refused to yield. The morning sun rose over Deathworld L, spilling harsh light across jagged rocks and endless plains. Smoke from the previous day's battle still lingered in the distance, painting the sky with streaks of gray and orange. Humans moved through the colony with determination, repairing defenses, reinforcing walls, and tending to those injured. Every motion was precise, every action purposeful. Captain Elias Kane stood in the center of the main command hub, studying the incoming scans. The Xyler had retreated temporarily, but their forces were regrouping. Their technology was advanced, their fleet larger than before. Yet Elias did not panic. He had learned long ago that fear was the enemy of survival. Calm thinking and careful planning were far stronger weapons than panic or brute force. Xyrella arrived silently, her massive form casting a long shadow across the hub. Her eyes, usually focused and intense, were now thoughtful. She had observed the humans closely since her arrival, and Elia's in particular. She had seen their courage, their intelligence, and their ability to adapt to deadly circumstances. She had seen how one human mind could turn the tide of battle against a far stronger enemy. "They are returning," she said. "Their fleet will be larger. They will not give up easily. This time, we will be ready for them at every turn. I am not ordinary, Your Majesty. We humans survive because we adapt. We survive because we think, because we plan, because we never give up. That is what you are seeing." Heavy weaponry was positioned on ridges, drones patrolled overhead, and energy barriers hummed with power. Xyrella positioned herself at key points, her energy a shield for those who could not move as fast as she could. The first ships of the returning fleet approached cautiously, testing the defenses. Automated turrets opened fire, while human squads launched drones to intercept small craft. The Xylar quickly realized they were facing a well-prepared opponent, but they pressed forward regardless, confident in their superior technology. Elias observed everything from the command hub, adjusting strategies as the battle unfolded. He noticed the Xylar were attempting to divide their forces again, hoping to overwhelm the humans. He acted immediately, sending squads to intercept and redirect the enemy into narrow canyons where the terrain could work against them. The first ambush worked perfectly. Explosives set in the canyon triggered, sending massive rock slides crashing down on enemy ships. Smaller Xylar craft were destroyed instantly, while larger vessels struggled to navigate the hazardous terrain. Xyrella joined the fight, using her energy to disable weapons and shields, but never destroying more than necessary. Elias' plan was about precision, not waste. A small human squad led by Tessa moved ahead of the main force, planting additional traps along predicted enemy routes. She looked back at Elias as she worked, admiration in her eyes. "He sees everything," she whispered. "It's like he knows what will happen before it does." By afternoon, the main Xylar fleet had fully engaged. The sky was filled with flashes of energy as ships exchanged fire. Explosions rocked the ground as some ships attempted to land troops near the colony. Humans fought with synchronized precision, striking where the enemy was weakest and retreating when necessary. Xyrella moved among the humans, her energy shielding squads and redirecting enemy fire. She had never seen battle like this. Humans did not rely solely on power. They relied on adaptability, ingenuity, and teamwork. Elias coordinated everything, his mind a network linking every soldier, every trap, and every weapon. At one point, a massive Xylar warship broke through the outer defenses, aiming directly for the colony's central hub. Panic rippled briefly through the humans, but Elias acted quickly. He sent a squad to draw the warship toward the seismic zones of the planet, where controlled explosions and unstable ground could damage it. The plan worked flawlessly. The warship was caught in a collapse, immobilized and partially destroyed. The humans cheered, but Elias did not allow celebration yet. The battle was far from over. The Xylar fleet still had many ships in the sky, and the next wave could be even more dangerous. Xyrella approached him. "You are remarkable," she said. "You do not fight like any human I have seen before. You anticipate, you plan, you endure. It is extraordinary. And courage. They will attempt to concentrate fire on our forward defenses," he said to his team. "Prepare a counter-ambush and split their forces further. Lead them where we can control the outcome." Traps and obstacles delayed them, while drones and human squads attacked from multiple angles. Every move was anticipated, every threat countered. By evening, the battle had shifted in favor of the humans. The Xylar fleet, though still formidable, had suffered significant losses. Many ships were damaged, and several retreating units fled back into space. The humans had proven that intelligence, coordination, and courage could overcome even superior strength. Xyrella walked among the survivors, observing their efforts to secure the colony. She saw humans treating the wounded, repairing damaged machinery, and reinforcing defenses. She had fought countless wars, but she had never seen resilience like this. Humans endured and adapted, even under overwhelming pressure. Elias stood at the edge of the colony, overlooking the battlefield. The smoke and debris from the Xylar ships filled the horizon, but the colony remained intact. He felt a quiet satisfaction, knowing that his strategies had saved countless lives. Yet he also knew the battle was far from over. The Xylar would return, and next time they would come stronger. Xyrella joined him. "You are more than I imagined," she said softly. "Not just strong, but clever, brave, and unyielding. You are everything I thought humans could not be. Every day is a battle, every challenge a test, and we meet it with courage and thought." The threat was not gone, but hope burned bright. Zyrella stood beside Elias, watching the humans. She had come expecting to dominate, to protect, perhaps even to teach. Instead, she had learned from them, witnessed their brilliance, and understood their true power. Humans were not fragile, they were extraordinary. They survived where others perished, thrived where others faltered, and turned impossible odds into opportunities. Elias looked toward the horizon, his expression calm and determined. "They will return," he said, "and when they do, we will be ready. Deathworld L is not just a home, it is a proving ground, and humans will always endure." For the first time in her long life, she truly understood human strength, not in muscles or weapons, but in spirit, mind, and courage. And standing before her was the embodiment of all three, Elias Kane, an ordinary human in appearance, but extraordinary in every way that truly mattered. The night was alive with quiet energy, anticipation, and resilience. The Xylar threat loomed, but the humans were not afraid. They had survived before, and they would survive again. Under Elias' leadership, guided by his strategies and ingenuity, Deathworld L would stand. Humans had revealed their true strength, and the galaxy would soon learn that underestimating them was a grave mistake. The alien queen had witnessed the truth. Humans were not weak. They were not fragile. They were a force of endurance, intelligence, and unyielding spirit. And Elias Kane was living proof of it. The skies over Deathworld L darkened as the Xylar fleet returned in full force. Hundreds of ships, black and menacing, moved in perfect formation, their weapons blazing with deadly energy. The humans had anticipated this day, and the colony was ready. Every turret, every drone, every defensive line had been reinforced. Yet even with preparation, the scale of the assault was overwhelming. Captain Elias Kane stood at the command hub, calm and focused. His eyes scanned the tactical map, calculating angles, distances, and enemy movements. Xyrella stood beside him, her massive form radiating strength and energy. Though she could easily destroy the approaching fleet with raw power, Elias knew that strategy, precision, and human ingenuity would win this battle, not sheer force alone. "They are larger than before," Xyrella said, her voice steady but tinged with concern. "This assault is designed to overwhelm us completely. We will divide them, weaken them, and use the planet itself as a weapon. Every canyon, every seismic zone, every natural hazard will work for us. Ground squads prepare controlled collapses and explosive charges along the main approach routes. Drones, target weapon systems, timing is everything. Stick to the plan and we will prevail." They trusted Elias completely, and he had proven time and again that he could anticipate the enemy's next move before they even made it. The Xylar fleet advanced, firing indiscriminately at anything that moved. Energy blasts streaked across the sky, illuminating the rugged terrain with deadly light. Yet the humans responded with remarkable efficiency. Turrets tracked and destroyed incoming fighters, drones disrupted communications, and squads on the ground triggered traps with perfect timing. Xyrella unleashed her energy in carefully measured bursts, disabling multiple enemy ships while leaving their hulls intact whenever possible. Elias had taught her that precision was more valuable than raw destruction. Every action was calculated to maximize advantage while minimizing risk. The first wave of Xylar ships was funneled into narrow canyons, where the terrain itself became a weapon. Explosions rocked the ground as controlled collapses crushed or trapped several enemy vessels. Smaller ships were destroyed by interceptors and drone swarms, while larger ships struggled to maneuver through the obstacles. Elias observed everything calmly, issuing commands as needed. "They will split again," he predicted. "Half will attempt to flank us from the south. Prepare the ambush in the volcanic ridge. Use heat vents and smoke clouds to slow their approach." Xyrella coordinated her attacks to amplify the effect, ensuring the Xylar could not adapt quickly. Despite the chaos, Elias remained calm. He moved through the command hub like a conductor leading an orchestra, each human, each trap, each weapon moving in perfect harmony. Even Xyrella, who had witnessed countless battles across the galaxy, was impressed by his leadership and composure. The Xylar commander, frustrated and desperate, attempted a direct assault on the colony's central hub. A massive warship fired concentrated energy beams, aiming to break through the human defenses. Many expected the humans to falter under such power, yet Elias had anticipated this move. Draw them toward the seismic zone, he ordered. Activate the collapses and use the terrain as our weapon. Interceptors flank from the east. Drones disable their weapon systems. Xyrella, focus your energy on shielding the squads while targeting their engines. Interceptors struck from above, targeting vulnerable points, while drones disrupted its systems. Xyrella's energy blasts ensured no squad was harmed during the attack. The humans had turned the Xyler's strength against them, using strategy and terrain rather than sheer power. The battle raged for hours. The Xyler launched wave after wave, but the humans adapted to every attack. They moved quickly, adjusted traps, and anticipated enemy maneuvers. Even when the Xyler used unexpected tactics, Ilias countered with creative solutions. At one critical moment, a group of Xyler command ships attempted to bypass the defenses entirely, aiming to strike from above. Ilias immediately organized a counterstrike squad, combining humans and Xyrella. They moved swiftly through treacherous terrain, using natural cover and obstacles to approach the enemy undetected. With perfect timing, they struck. Explosives disabled several ships, while Xyrella's energy blasts shattered shields and weapon systems. The Xyler were caught off guard, their command structure disrupted, and their fleet forced into disarray. The humans cheered at each success, but Ilias did not allow complacency. He remained vigilant, scanning for threats, adjusting tactics, and ensuring every squad was in position. The Xyler fleet, though battered, still had significant strength. The battle was not yet won. As night fell over Deathworld L, the twin moons illuminated the battlefield. Fires from destroyed Xyler ships flickered across the rugged terrain, casting long shadows. The humans moved tirelessly, repairing defenses and preparing for the next wave. Exhaustion was visible on their faces, but determination burned brighter than ever. Xyrella approached Ilias, her massive form silhouetted against the moons. "You are remarkable," she said softly. "You do not fight like any human I have seen. You anticipate, you adapt, and you lead. It is extraordinary. Our strength is our mind, our courage, and our willingness to face impossible odds." The Xyler, realizing their plans had failed, attempted one final assault, a coordinated strike by their remaining forces aimed directly at the heart of the colony. Ilias anticipated it immediately. "Divide and conquer," he said. "Split their forces with traps, isolate them, and strike precisely where they are weakest. Every ship, every soldier, every action must be perfect." By dawn, the Xyler had been forced into retreat. The surviving ships fled, damaged and disorganized. The humans had won not by brute force, but through intelligence, strategy, and unbreakable resolve. Deathworld L was safe, for now. Ilias walked among the survivors, checking on squads and assessing damage. Humans moved quickly to repair, treat the injured, and secure the colony. They were tired, but not defeated. Every challenge had strengthened them, and every success had proven their resilience. Xyrella approached him once more. "You are everything I underestimated, Ilias Kane. Not just brave, not just clever, but extraordinary in ways I never imagined. You have shown me the true strength of your kind. We fight not for glory, but because we must. Every day is a test, and we meet it with courage, ingenuity, and determination. That is what makes humans strong." And Ilias Kane was the perfect embodiment of all these qualities: calm, clever, courageous, and unyielding. As the sun rose over the repaired colony, the humans stood united. They had faced the full might of the Xyler fleet and survived. They had proven that intelligence, courage, and teamwork could overcome even superior technology. And Xyrella, watching from the side, realized that she had married not an ordinary human, but a symbol of the extraordinary power of humanity. The night was over, but the lessons remained. Deathworld L was a proving ground, and its people had proven that they could endure anything. The Xyler threat had been repelled, but the humans knew it was only a matter of time before another challenge arose. Yet with Ilias Kane leading them, they would face it as they always had, with courage, ingenuity, and the unbreakable spirit that defined their kind. In that quiet moment, Xyrella looked at Ilias with admiration. He had revealed a truth that no alien power could ignore. Humans were extraordinary, not because of size or strength, but because of mind, heart, and will. And together, they had shown the galaxy that Deathworld L was not a place to be conquered. It was a place where humans thrived, endured, and triumphed against all odds. The dawn over Deathworld L was crisp and clear, the twin suns climbing slowly into the sky. The air carried the scent of scorched earth and ozone, reminders of the ferocious battle that had raged only hours before. Despite the devastation, the colony stood strong, a testament to human resilience and determination. The survivors moved quickly, repairing defenses, tending to the wounded, and reinforcing key structures. Every action was purposeful, every step a statement. They had endured, and they would endure again. Captain Elias Kane walked among the humans, inspecting the work and offering guidance. His calm presence inspired confidence. Soldiers and engineers alike moved efficiently, knowing that every choice mattered. The Xylar threat was not completely gone, but Elias had taught them that survival was not about fear. It was about preparation, unity, and adaptability. Xyrella appeared beside him, her scales glinting in the sunlight. She had witnessed countless battles across the galaxy, yet nothing had impressed her as much as the humans of Deathworld L. She had expected a fragile species, reliant on luck and alien allies. Instead, she had seen courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding spirit that defined them. "The Xylar will return," she said, her voice calm but filled with quiet intensity. "They are not easily defeated." Elias moved immediately to assess the situation. The Xylar were regrouping for one final assault, their fleet damaged but not destroyed. They would attempt a decisive strike to conquer Deathworld L once and for all. Elias gathered his key squads, Xyrella included, and laid out a comprehensive plan. "We will use everything at our disposal: traps, terrain, drones, and precise strikes. Every squad knows their role. Timing is crucial. We will divide their forces, isolate them, and strike where they are weakest. Humans thrive under pressure, and today we will prove it again." Xyrella positioned herself strategically, shielding squads and targeting critical enemy ships with pinpoint energy blasts. Elias' calm authority kept everyone coordinated, every action part of a larger plan. As the Xylar fleet approached, the battle began. Energy beams streaked across the sky, explosions rocked the ground, and the humans executed every maneuver with unmatched coordination. The Xylar attempted to split their forces, but Elias had predicted it. Each movement, each split, each feint was anticipated, and the humans adapted instantly. The main assault hit near the colony's central hub. The Xylar fired massive energy blasts intended to overwhelm defenses, yet the humans had prepared. Interceptor squads redirected the energy beams with reflective shields. Drones disrupted enemy targeting systems, and precise explosives destabilized landing craft. Xyrella unleashed her energy to shield key positions, ensuring minimal human casualties while neutralizing threats efficiently. At one critical moment, the Xylar commander sent a group of elite fighters to infiltrate the colony and target Elias directly. Many expected the humans to falter under such pressure, but Elias had anticipated it. He led a rapid response squad through hazardous terrain, using narrow canyons, unstable ground, and smoke cover to approach the enemy undetected. With perfect timing, the squad struck. Explosives disabled enemy ships, human marksmen took out key targets, and Xyrella's energy blasts disrupted the remaining forces. The Xylar were caught off guard, their infiltration attempt thwarted before it could succeed. Meanwhile, the main fleet was funneled into natural hazards designed by Elias. Narrow valleys, seismic zones, and volcanic ridges became deadly traps. Ships were destroyed or immobilized, their numbers dwindling rapidly. The Xylar commander realized too late that he had underestimated the humans once again. Hours of intense battle passed, each moment testing human endurance and ingenuity. Soldiers and engineers adapted to new threats instantly, making adjustments in real time. Drones, traps, and human squads moved like a single entity, executing Elias' strategies flawlessly. Xyrella coordinated her energy blasts to maximize effect without harming the humans, striking at exactly the right moments to tip the balance. Finally, the Xylar commander attempted a desperate retreat. Elias anticipated this and had already positioned squads to intercept. With precise timing, the humans cut off escape routes, forcing the remaining Xylar ships into the most hazardous zones of the planet. Explosives triggered, volcanic vents erupted, and unstable ground collapsed, destroying the fleeing ships. By late evening, the Xylar were decisively defeated. The fleet was shattered, their forces broken, and Deathworld L had been saved. The humans had not only defended their home, they had demonstrated the extraordinary power of their ingenuity, courage, and unyielding spirit. The colony erupted in celebration. Survivors cheered, repaired systems hummed with renewed energy, and children watched in awe as the defenders of their home moved among them. Elias walked through the crowd, acknowledging each squad, each soldier, each engineer who had contributed to the victory. Humility and pride blended in his demeanor. Xyrella approached him, her massive form towering over the humans but carrying no threat. Her eyes, usually sharp and intimidating, were filled with respect and admiration. "Elias Kane," she said, her voice soft but resonant, "you have shown me what humans truly are, not fragile, not weak, but extraordinary. Your courage, intelligence, and leadership have saved your people and proven the strength of your kind. Humans endure because we adapt, we think, and we never give up. Strength is more than weapons or size. It is courage, unity, and the will to face the impossible." She had married a man she once thought ordinary, only to discover he was the embodiment of human excellence. As night fell over Deathworld L, the colony stood united. Fires from the battle had been contained, defenses repaired, and preparations made for any future threats. The humans were tired but triumphant. They had faced overwhelming odds and prevailed. They had proven that intelligence, courage, and teamwork could overcome even the most formidable enemies. Elias walked to the edge of a cliff overlooking the valley. Xyrella joined him silently. The stars above shimmered, and the moons cast a soft glow across the rugged terrain. "We have survived," Elias said quietly, more to himself than anyone else. "And we will continue to survive. That is what humans do. The humans, the colony, and even you. Strength is never just one being. It is unity, trust, and the courage to act when it matters most." They were extraordinary in thought, courage, and will. They endured where others would fail. Xyrella stood beside Elias, realizing that the union she had entered was more than political or symbolic. It was a partnership built on respect, admiration, and recognition of true strength. She had expected to marry an ordinary human, but she had found someone who embodied everything remarkable about her adopted species. The Xyler threat had been decisively defeated, their fleet destroyed, and their plans thwarted. Deathworld L was safe, and the humans had shown that courage, ingenuity, and resilience could overcome even the most overwhelming odds. Elias looked across the colony one last time before turning to Xyrella. "The galaxy may underestimate humans," he said quietly, "but as long as we endure, adapt, and think ahead, no force will ever break us. That is our strength. That is our nature. And you, Elias Kane, are living proof." And in Elias Kane, the alien queen had found a partner who embodied all of these qualities, a man who had proven that even the seemingly ordinary could achieve the extraordinary. For the first time, Xyrella understood what humans had always known. Survival was not about sheer power, but about enduring, adapting, and refusing to give up. And as she looked at Elias, she knew that together, humans and aliens could face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and shape the galaxy in ways that no one could have predicted. Deathworld L was safe. Humanity had triumphed, and the universe would never again underestimate the extraordinary strength of humans and their courage to stand defiant in the face of overwhelming odds.